much, Layan. For our next speaker, Alhassan Jamjoom will be discussing his philosophy of contribution to causes greater than himself. Take the stage, Hassan Jamjoom.
What if this isn't normal? I want to start with something simple and honest. I'm not here because I have everything figured out. I'm here because at some point I felt something isn't right. So I decided not to ignore it. It wasn't a big moment or a life crisis. It was just a feeling, just the way I was living, eating, and feeling didn't quite make sense. It's really good to be here today. And honestly, what really meant to me was hearing that a student still in Darjana who shops at Now Food recommended my name. And that, more than anything, made me feel a responsibility to show up and speak honestly. Thank you. Thank you, Fatma Khashoggi. Where are you, Fatma? Before I tell my story, my name is Alhassan Jamjoom, the founder of Nawa Foods, your go-to-health food market. 11 years ago, I was exactly sitting where are you guys sitting today? A senior student with so many what-ifs and so many questions. What if I made the wrong decision? What if I didn't become what I'm supposed to be? What if I chose this major? And if there is one thing that I learned since then, it's that you don't need to have everything figured out, because life is a continuous learning process. And those what-ifs weren't a confusion, they were the beginning of growth. And sometimes one simple question can change everything. It didn't start with something big, it started with something very basic, even a bit uncomfortable. I remember asking myself, what if the food we're eating isn't normal? It sounds small, but it made me to explore for an answer. So I visited a functional doctor. It was an eye-opener of how our body is connected. Around the same time, I was watching the doctors, and in the episode, they recommended a book called Heal Your Drained Brain. And the title alone made me to stop and ask myself a question. Am I living with a drained brain? My quick answer was no. But something about the title made me to order the book. As I started reading the book, things started to connect. What was the functional doctor saying? What I was feeling, all made sense. And the third moment was a very simple moment. I remember buying a regular chicken from a regular butcher, but something felt off. The smell wasn't right. The color wasn't as expected. I almost ignored it like we usually do, but this time I didn't. I stopped and asked, when did we stop questioning what we eat? When did we assume if something is available, it should be okay? So I decided to try a different option and bought an organic chicken. The result was clear, not just in taste, but in quality. These three moments made me to dig deeper. So I asked myself questions that I never asked before. What does really organic mean? What does pesticide-free actually mean? What does antibiotic-free really mean? And that's when I realized that so much of what we consume without really understanding it. These three moments had pushed me to start learning, reading, and pay more attention. I began to realize that there's so much what I thought are not connected, like mood, energy, focus, are actually deeply connected. The reality is, people like many of us are young, active, and still feeling fine. So we don't focus what's on the ingredients or what's in the food. So we don't feel the impact, and it's easy to assume that there is no impact. but over time, you will feel the effect. Nearly in Saudi Arabia, 1 in 5 adults is living with diabetes. Obesity rates are among the highest globally. Those numbers weren't random. They're a reflection of how we live today. You see it everywhere, the increased number of obesity, diabetes, autoimmune condition, and many more. You name it. And here but the good side of it, that you can prevent it or reverse it through gut health. And here where the idea of Noah Foods was born. When I thought about building Noah Foods, I wasn't confident. I kept asking myself practical question. Is there enough demand for that? Will actually people care? It requires a real investment. Can I make it work? Are there even enough products in the market to build something meaningful? The truth is, living healthy for myself is much easier. I could have just made better personal choices and moved on. But I kept coming back to one idea. What if this could be something bigger than me? What if Noah Foods can make it easier for people to make better choices? And that's what's really made me to move forward despite the uncertainty. And that's what led me to build Noah Foods, not just as a perfect solution, not because I think I can change everything, because I wanted to make it slightly easier for people who started to question. Better option, more transparent, more intentional. But this isn't just my story. What if one question can change your life? To the students, what if the habits you build today can shape who you become tomorrow? To the parents, what if the environment we create shapes our children's future? To everyone here, what if the choices we make every day are more powerful than you think? You don't need to change everything overnight. Just start with one thing, one better option, one better question. Because the truth is, your future isn't something that just happens. It is something you build choice by choice. And sometimes you don't need a big decision to change your life. It is one simple question. What if? Have I nailed my talk? Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But this is exactly the point. Life doesn't always go as planned. You have a choice. You either can regret it or turn it into an opportunity. You can stay where you are or you can grow from it. Thank you.